kind of thing. So there are differences there. Then there are differences in notification procedures and timeline. This is how individuals are to be notified and in what circumstance. Almost all of them allow for notification by email and letter. Believe it or not, Indiana allows for notification by fax. I don't know how that got in there. Some allow for substitute notice, because you can imagine if it's a large number of records that were breached, a large number of people that you have to notify, it could get costly pretty quick. So some allow website posting or the use of statewide media to make notification. Usually these are based on thresholds, and the thresholds vary. In some states it's based on cost, and the range is anywhere from, if it's going to cost you $2,500, you can use website posting or statewide media, to $250,000. Some are based on number of people affected, where the people affected are just the residents of that state. So if 5,000 residents, Indiana residents were affected, then you can use website or statewide media, and the upper range is 500,000. Big range in time delay. Some are a discrete amount of time, the most stringent or a discrete amount of time, all the way from most expedient time possible. In some cases, it's the consumer only who is notified. In some cases, it's the consumer plus some state agency, an attorney general, the state police, the Department of Justice. And they vary in a few other ways. So some of the state laws are not just data breach disclosure laws. Some of them are information security laws. If you have a data breach disclosure, then you have to do certain things remedially to make sure it doesn't happen again. Some allow security freezes. Call out the request that you inform consumers about security freezes, credit freezes. They vary in penalty. Some states allow private right of action, while others rely on the Attorney General. There's a wide range of penalties. You know, it's as low as $100 a record to, gosh, the upper limit. I might not be able to find it here quickly because I haven't been turning my notes pages. $100 per occurrence, no more than $25,000 adjudged against any one defendant where the defendant is the entity that was breached. To $150,000 as a maximum breach, to $500 per defendant, and $500,000 as a maximum penalty. So again, it's a big range. So the challenge is for these companies, these entities, to try to comply and to try to comply with a number of different laws. But beyond the challenge for companies complying, I think we have to come back and ask ourselves the question, how efficacious are these policies? Are they making an impact on identity theft? Are they making an impact on privacy? And if so, how? Just to add one more piece of information that's important to understanding the data breach disclosure policies that we have. In 1966, the U.S. passed the Freedom of Information Act. This is a sunshine law. Sunshine law is just that. It intends to shine light on an issue. So sunshine laws are usually embraced by democratic nations. They are based upon the notion that a democracy requires open access, it requires citizen participation, and that a right to know is an inherent right of its citizens. So 8 years later, we had the Privacy Act. And I guess I just wanted to point out, we already talked a little bit about the Privacy Act being in response to the problems with the Nixon administration. Both of these laws reflect a suspicion of government. Whether it's a sunshine law, which is a positive law, or a Privacy Act in reaction to the Nixon administration, both of them reflect suspicion of government power. And neither of them really reflect privacy as a positive right. And that's true of the position in the United States. In all of our public policy, we really haven't reflected policy as a privacy right. And I already said this. I just want to repeat it one more time quickly. You know, privacy in Graham, Leach, Bliley, and Hippo, they were treated as a means to an end. Privacy has a functional role. We need privacy because we need job mobility. We need privacy because we need financial services modernization. So does that mean if we didn't need financial services modernization or we didn't need job mobility, we wouldn't need privacy? No, I don't think it means that. It means that we have this interesting history in the United States of attaching, glomming privacy onto something else. You know, and it's hard, and that's what's happening partly right now in data breach and identity theft. And it's a long-standing trend that might be hard for us to reverse, you know, but that I think we need to recognize as the policy posture of the United States. Maybe it will change, but I do think we have to recognize it as a policy posture currently. So data breach disclosure is a form of regulation that's called informational regulation. It goes along with the notion of sunshine laws, that our citizens have a right to know. So informational regulation is a growing trend in the United States. It's growing partially because it's not command and control regulation. So it puts the burden on consumers instead of growing government. Command and control regulation can be costly. It can mean big government. And we tend to not like that in the U.S. So it serves to try to inform people of risk exposures. And it assumes by informing people of risk exposures that they will then be informed, that they will then take action, and that action that they take will change the behavior of risk producers. So I'll use a simple example, which is in the food industry. We have labeling laws that require the food industry to disclose what's in the food you buy at the grocery store, what's in that McDonald's hamburger, how much fat. Sometimes you get some of it at other types of restaurants, they tell you. And so the notion here is that, you know, I go to the grocery store and I'm going to buy salad dressing, and I look at that salad dressing bottle and I think, geez, I don't need 13 grams of fat and, you know, X grams of sugar. And so I buy this one over here. And over time, this one doesn't get bought because collectively we don't want it to display this risky behavior. And over time, the producer gets the message that they're not going to buy that. And the producer changes their behavior. That's the logic behind them. The logic behind them is also partially that they improve democratic processes and individual autonomy, values that we hold dear in the United States. At a much more pragmatic level,